Oh, look, a bird, saith Serp. A bird of snake. How we doing? We're back in Phoenix, Wright. Spirit of Justice. Just about to end chapter 2. Feels like it went on a really long time, but it's because it's all one day. Instead of, you know, investigation, trial. We just had one investigation and then one trial, which I guess is mixing it up a bit. But it's also, like, it just makes the trial seem like it's taking a really long time. Also, I've once again just woken up. It's... If I could only adjust my sleep schedule by, like, half an hour to the left. But what you gonna do? How could one person stab another to death with a sword without physically being there? What are we talking about? What's happening in this case, actually? Oh. Robert Downey Jr. was in the TV studio. We know that's his alibi. And we're supposing that he... Oh, I know what it is. He stabbed him without being there by having... He had a loop, right? On the back of his pants or whatever. Yeah, he got hoisted into... It's gonna be he got hoisted up into the thing that, the thing on the ceiling in order to kill him. In fact, we know when it happened, too. Where's the video? I'm not going to play the video because it takes too long. But at the moment, when he falls out of the coffin, he's alive. And then they go, whoop, the dragon thing crashes into the stage. Simultaneously, he gets pulled up into like a sword or whatever, and then falls back down. And they don't realize that he was just killed. I get it. Furthermore, we all saw what appears to be the culprit's shadow in the footage. Objection! Wow. Oh, wait. It was too loud. But couldn't we just as easily assume that the shadow does not belong to the culprit? Well, if it's not the culprit's, then who is it? Whose is it? I'm not 100% sure yet. This guy just woke up. I'm pretty sure I'm on the right track. We've all seen something that looks like this shadowy shape before, Your Honor, during the magic show itself. In that case, please point it out in the show footage for us. This is the thing that looks suspiciously similar to the shadowy figure of the culprit. Alright, this is going to be Mr. Hat's zoom. There it was. Take that! You take it. Doesn't this shadow resemble the suspicious shadowy figure? Now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it? Ms. Wright, could you identify this shadow for the court? Let's see. I believe that's Mr. Hat's shadow. It's from when he's being pulled up from the stage to the catwalk overhead by wire. Then, could this shadow that's shown later in the footage be Mr. Hat too? No, that's not possible. After Mr. Hat was pulled up to the catwalk, he stayed up there. In other words, this second shadow is from some other figure being pulled up. Some other figure? I'm afraid you'll need to be more specific than that, Mr. Justice. He's right. We've come this far. I'll just have to figure it out from the clues I have on hand. The second shadow... Well, I assume it's him, right? Do I present his photo? Yeah.
Take that!
First Sunday off, I did spend a lot of time riding around on the Astro. I also finished up the Blue Mage Masked Carnival and started doing, like, just going into dungeons as Blue Mage with other Blue Mages. Going through a dungeon with a group of Blue Mages is so much fun. I don't know. I guess it's because I don't know exactly what to do on a Blue Mage yet. So it's almost like being thrown into, like, high-level combat with a class that you don't play. And you're like, well, I guess I have this ability and that ability. Except there's no really explicit combos, so all of the things that you have work together, but it's just constantly going, oh, that's right, I still have my fire breath that I can... Oh, there's a thing. I know what to do. If the guy's over there, I can jump and hit him and then knock him back into the other guy. And it's just 4 people just doing that like crazy. And it's like, yeah, one guy is the tank, yeah, and maybe has his layout with a couple of the tankier abilities, and you know, hopefully one person is the healer, and so they're expecting they make sure that they have a couple of the healing abilities. But it's just like a free for all. It's almost like Palace of the Dead, but more fun, because they're, you know, enemies still take a while to kill. It's just so much fun. Blue abilities are so flashy. They're all, you know, explosions and lightning and fire breath and eye lasers. So I'm looking forward to doing a whole bunch of more stuff. Like, basically, that's the blue. If you didn't know, sorry to anybody who was watching this for Phoenix Wright, but a small Final Fantasy XIV interlude since I didn't get to talk about it on Sunday. They have the blue log, which is just a list of 60-something dungeons where they're like, yep, run each one of these dungeons synced with a party of all blue mages. And you get like a first-time completion, but I mean, it doesn't matter what the reward is. There is a checklist. Fill it in. And it's just a lot of fun going through all of that. And it's going to be crazy trying to do like some of the harder stuff too, you know, doing the higher level dungeons and the trials and things. Ho 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 ever X 80. I never say the full name. Welcome, how are you? If we consider what was happening on the stage at the time, there is only one answer. The shadow belonged to the fake Mr. Rias. In other words, Mr. Man of Mystery. The victim? Please take a look at the prank plan script. Mr. Mystery was to pretend to be dead and then fly up into the air after that. I didn't even remember that part. Isn't that right, Mr. Radens? Indeed. And what of it? I contend that that's exactly what happened. The victim was wearing a stunt harness around his waist. It was most likely attached to a stunt wire so that he could be pulled up into the air. So you're suggesting that after pretending to be dead in the coffin, the victim flew up into the air just as the prank script says? Exactly. We just couldn't go see him go flying up because the dragon was blocking our view. And that last trick, ladies and gentlemen, is the true piece de resistance of the culprit's murderous magic show. Oh my god, has he been to Europe too? He was just speaking European just now. Hurring! Ever X ocho cero. Or is it ever times 80? I'll just do that from now on. Every time you come into the chat, I'll say, hello, ever. Well, I'm tired of it already. Don't tell me, you got it all figured out? Yes, I think so. If we can just look beyond Mr. Reedon's last bit of misdirection, we should finally be able to see the real truth. The victim must have been pulled up to the catwalk, just like Mr. Hat, and hit the cushioning up there with considerable force. I just have to figure out what else happened up there at that time. Are you ready to elaborate, Mr. Justice? Yes, Your Honor, I'm ready. In that case, please answer me this. Why did the culprit make the victim fly up into the air like that? To murder her. Well, to falsify an alibi? What? I mean, he did do it in order to make it so that he could kill, but, I mean, murder is the direct result, so that's what it is. Just why did the culprit have the victim fly up after he appeared in the coffin? And how did the victim actually die when he was only pretending to be dead in the coffin? If we can figure out how these two questions relate, the answers should become clear. Okay. Yeah, equis means... It does mean horses in Spanish. I did not realize... No, wait. No. I knew that it meant X in Spanish. I did not know that it meant equis, or that it meant horses in Latin. X, ocho, cero. Could say... Nah, whatever. If we can figure out how these two questions relate, the answer should become clear. Could it be? Mr. Mystery must have thought he was still just part of a very weird prank when he appeared on stage. He probably didn't suspect a thing as he was being pulled into the air after Ms. Wright was called backstage, and just as the set piece fell. But the culprit had already planted the real murder weapon in a cushion in the catwalk. It was probably a knife or blade of some sort. What? You mean... Yes, it really was a magical murder. Just as the prank script said, Mr. Mystery was whisked up into the air and straight into a blade there in the catwalk, and the autopsy didn't reveal that he was, you know, any of this stuff. Come on, autopsy police. What are you guys, a bunch of dum-dums? In other words, this murder was committed remotely through the use of a magic trick. What? Remotely? Using this method, it wouldn't matter where Mr. Radens was at the time of death. But there is a European language. I learned it because of this game. No, the game before this one. Dawn of... Dual Destinies. I knew there was a D. But how exactly does it work, Mr. Justice? What, do I have to make a manga for you? Just before the murder occurred, the dragon set piece was up in the catwalk. It and Mr. Man of Mystery were connected to each other by a wire at the time. By carrying out the prank plan, Betty made the dragon set piece fall, which caused Mr. Mystery to rocket straight up and into the blade in the cushion. Ah, come on, show it. What is this, G-rated? Directed by Quentin Tarantino. The cushion was high up enough to be hidden from the audience's view. That's why nobody saw the blade. Oh, then that big gash in Mr. Hat's cape. What? I don't remember that. The blade must have been set up overhead sometime before the magic show. Oh, okay, yeah. Mr. Hat must have been slashed by it, too, when he was pulled up to the cushion. I can't believe it. I had no idea. I was told that Trucy would freak out if I made the set piece fall. That's the only reason I did it. Oh, we found it. We found the real murderer. That's how it works. You were used, Betty. Roger Raytons used you. I thought he was my little puppet to boss around, but it was the other way around. After the incident occurred, Mr. Raytons arrived at the theater. He got the murder weapon and swapped the rubber sword with the bloodied steel one. That's also when he lowered the victim's body down to the stage. He was just sitting up there for 10 minutes. This is suddenly seeming dumber. Like, if he was just sitting up there bleeding out of his entire life hole, there'd be blood all over, like, it, there's no, this doesn't make sense. But how did he have time to do all that? When the set piece fell, the audience was evacuated from the building. He was able to do all those things after the fact because there was no one around to see. Yeah, the autopsy absolutely should have concluded that, hey, this guy was A, not stabbed by a person, but was stabbed, you know, with, or, you know, was moving as a stationary blade pressed into him, and then plus that for minutes he had the blade still stuck in him. A horrific murder camouflaged by a spectacular magic show? That sounds like the kind of murder only a magician could pull off. As long as the show proceeded as it was scripted, Mr. Mystery was doomed to die. That's why it was you, Mr. Raytons, who killed the victim all the way from the TV station. This prank plan, or should I say murder plan, proves your murderous intent. The Satsujin Keikaku. Grammar-eye! Uh-oh. Enough. You dim-witted, ignorant, imbecilic, putrid red pepper. He can't possibly have a counter-argument to make. Talk about not knowing when to let it go and move on. Do you have a rebuttal or something, Prosecutor Sudbody? No blade of any kind was found in the catwalk, which means you have no evidence to support your theory. But Mr. Raytons retrieved it after the fact. Which still leaves you with no way to prove your wildly fantastic remote murder theory. But without the proof, does it not make more sense to believe that the murder was committed there on the stage? That's where the blood-stained sword was found, after all. That is a very good point. As the only person who could have committed the crime there on the stage, Trucy Wright remains the prime suspect. It would appear that what you call truth is nothing more than a cheap parlor trick. In the end, you have done nothing to prove the accused's innocence. It is time at last to let it go and move on. Russian? Is that what I was speaking? I really don't know what his voice is supposed to be. Are you seeing this, Magnifi Grammar-eye? My magic is exacting punishment on your granddaughter. The Grammar-eye name is done for. Also, aren't you just saying right now out loud that you did it on purpose to punish her? Apollo, we need to hit them with a decisive piece of evidence here. I know. That's just what I was thinking. Johnny Depp, I've been calling him Robert Downey Jr. That's what he looks more like to me. Mr. Justice, do you, or don't you, have anything to prove that the witness committed this remote murder you proposed? Of course I do, Your Honor. This entire incident was carried out exactly according to the script. Right, so theoretically, there should be no evidence for us to find or use, which means our best bet is to see if something unscripted happened. There's gotta be something Radens couldn't have foreseen. And once I find it, that's how I'll expose his murderous trick. So is it gonna be the switcheroo? Is that it? The fact that she had to move the stage lifts? I don't think that's what Betty said. She said that she dropped the... I can't go back that far. She said that she pulled the thing that caused the dragon to fall. I don't think she knew that he was also attached to it or that there was a blade up there. Get ready, Mr. Radens, because I'm about to reveal the secret to your magic. There are no tricks or gimmicks here. There's no such thing as witches. Just logic. Just logic and sky manga. Oh, no, wait, it's different this time. It's this... this time it actually is Logic Dive. Am I going to have to dodge? As long as the magic show went as scripted, the murder would happen without fail. Everything in the case was carefully planned so that no evidence would be left behind. Still, one thing that happened that definitely wasn't in the plan. Bonnie's mistake. Machigatteru. Bonnie made a mistake during Trucy's escape trick. What mistake did she make? Her life choice. Mr. Hat's positioning. You're right, I forgot to stretch out the last word for 10 seconds. Because Bonnie placed Mr. Hat to the right of the coffin instead of to the left, Trucy had to reappear on the side of the coffin opposite to the one in the show's script. But the culprit didn't know that when he first arrived at the theater, which means he was bound to make a slip-up when he tampered with the crime scene. I don't remember the blood in the coffin hole. Was it on the correct side or no? Where is it even? Does it show up anywhere in here? Autopsy report. While we're at it, autopsy report. Bunch of slackers. Where was the corpse was held horizontally above the ground for 15 minutes, bleeding out. My God. All right. I think it's the fingerprints. No, that's not right. Even if Trucy's position changed, that wouldn't affect the placement of fingerprints on the outside of the coffin. Besides, Trucy didn't even leave any fingerprints. So in that case... Because I know the fingerprints we said were reversed, right? They were on the wrong side. Or something. This is odd because normally the rule... Hey, Yahan's here. Blood in the Coffin Hole is maybe the best thing I've heard. It does sound like a sick name for a band. Normally, in Phoenix Wright, they never ask you to actually remember something that happened. Like, it'll always be useful, but the question that you're answering or the thing that you're presenting is always based on the evidence's picture and description. That it's always going to be in there somewhere. But we don't actually have anything, I don't think, unless I'm missing it. We don't have anything in the evidence that records the fact that there were traces of blood in the slit in the coffin where you're supposed to stab through, but on the wrong side. Thinking Trucy had appeared on the left, the culprit must have left the blood in the left hole, but the blood was eventually discovered in the right hole during the police investigation. If the killer had originally put the blood on the left side, that means he must have tampered with the scene again afterwards to make it line up with the facts. Oh, and then he swapped the coffin sides. That's right. The left and right panels of the coffin are interchangeable. The culprit must have switched the two panels to make the bloodstain fit the facts. Okay, so we didn't know that. We didn't know that the blood was on the wrong side. He put it on the wrong side, but then switched the two coffin sides. So that's even weirder. Alright, well, whatever. But can you spell coffin sides in this fun game? Improved. Can you spell coffin way? But the switch might have also given rise to something unnatural. Oh, I remember now. There was something unnatural about the coffin, and it's just the evidence I need. Sorry, Mr. Radens, but I have some very conclusive proof of your guilt. Another bluff, is it? There's no way you have anything of the kind. My magic is real. No. There are tricks and gimmicks to it, just like any other illusion. What? After the murder. You switched the left and right panels of the coffin, didn't you? Gah! And because you did, you left behind something very unnatural for us to find. This proves that Roger Reitens tampered with the crime scene after the murder took place. What is it? This? Okay, this proves that somebody switched the two coffin sides. Do we have anything that actually... It's gonna be... Take that! The fingerprinting results. What about the fingerprints is unnatural? Let's take a look at the prints the victim left inside the coffin, shall we? See, yeah, this feels so out of order. Like, they asked us about the blood in the hole, which was on the correct side, and then said... Okay, he switched the coffin sides, and now we're saying, okay, the fingerprints are on the wrong like, I would have thought that we would have come to this conclusion using the evidence we have, and then the evidence that we don't have in the deduction. Like, this came last, even though it's the one thing that's actually a piece of evidence in our court record. If the victim was facing forward in the coffin, his prints should have looked like this. However, what we found was... that they were facing the opposite direction. It's quite unnatural for the prince to be facing this way, wouldn't you agree? Ah. It is strange, isn't it? But how did they get this way? They got this way because the culprit thought the magic show had gone according to script. The culprit thought Mr. Hat would be on the left side of the coffin, and that Ms. Wright would also pop up to the left side of the coffin as per the show's script. He then assumed she had thrust the sword into the hole on the left side of the coffin. That's why he put the blood in the left hole when he was trying to cover up his crime. But sometime after leaving the bloodstain, the culprit must have realized his mistake. He found out that due to Bonnie's mistake, Mr. Hat was to the right of the coffin, and that despite the script, Ms. Wright had thrust the sword into the hole on the right. In short, the hole with the blood on it was on the opposite side, was on the side opposite the one that Trucy used. To make the blood's location fit the facts, he had to tamper with the evidence yet again, so he tried to cover his tracks by switching the coffin's left and right panels. Oh, and that's how the fingerprints in the coffin ended up backwards. Just because the culprit switched the two side panels around, the prince ended up facing the opposite direction. But instead of going to all that trouble with the panels, why didn't the culprit just wipe the blood away and redo it on the other side? I'm afraid that wouldn't have worked, Your Honor, because of a little something called luminol testing. Ah, right, luminol. I almost forgot. Luminol can detect trace amounts of blood, even if it's been wiped away, right? That's right. Wiping the blood away would have only served as proof of his meddling. How about it, Mr. Ratens? I did a pretty good job figuring out your trick, didn't I? Actually, none of what we just discovered proves that it was him. Do we have anything that actually links him? Couldn't it have been somebody else? It could have been somebody else who set all of this up. We have no proof whatsoever. Put your sweat back in your pores. You should not be sweating. We have not proved that you are a murderer by a long shot. Trucy Wright could have done the same just as easily. You have no proof that it was this witness who tampered with the evidence. Ah, but I do have proof. What? A person who was in the magic show would never have made the mistake of putting the blood on the wrong side. Least of all Ms. Wright, who surely would have remembered she was on the other side. Oh my, you're absolutely right. Ugh. Why, you impudent. I'm sure you've realized by now, Prosecutor Sadmati, that your claim that Ms. Wright is the culprit just doesn't hold up. Feh, you and the accused almost. Certainly something. And then I was interrupted. Rude. Really? Ms. Wright and I? Because I think you're the one with the ticket. I'm most certainly bound for hell. Objection. Oh, like a ticket to hell. Okay. I think you're the one with a ticket there for trying to convict an innocent girl. Yeah, who would ever put an innocent person in court? Prosecutor Sadmati, are you all right? As for the true culprit, he is someone who knew how the show was supposed to go but didn't actually see it, and someone who had the chance to tamper with the crime scene after the incident, and the only person who fits the bill is you, Roger Ratens. Grrr. Grammari. Of all the secret seer tricks, all the secret seer tricks have been revealed. Middle Eastern. It's supposed to be a Middle Eastern accent, I think. Maybe not Middle East. Maybe Italy. No. You know what it is? I'm making him sound like the girl from the first case of Layton versus Phoenix Wright. Right, the cook? The chef, who is, like, Mediterranean or something. That's what it is. Russia, I'm pretty sure, is in the Mediterranean Sea. So I can see how you would get those two accents mixed up. I have them correct, though. And with no tricks left, I'm afraid your show has been canceled. Permanently. All of my secrets have been revealed, you say? Don't make me laugh, boy. Mine is true, real magic. There are no secrets to reveal. Behold, ladies and gentlemen, the true power of the great Mysterious. Witness a magic far greater than troop grammarize. Burn! Crumble! That wasn't crumbling, that was burn again. Fall to my furious flames. The great Mysterious will bring an end to you all. And now for the final heir to the grammar I name, right here, right now, you, too, shall Huh? No, this isn't right. No, I didn't do anything wrong. It's not my fault. I'm not the one to blame. I'm the victim here. What? Ugh! Ugh! Stop! No! Ugh! He's like, where did these spotlights come from? I know where the curtain came from. It was an odd breakdown. Curse those grammar eyes. It's all because of them. Even now they wound me. Curse them all to the abyss. Do you really hate us that much? Cake Foxy arises. Rise of the Cake. Planet of the Foxy. The music he has is your favorite banger of the entire game. So it's all downhill from here is what you're saying. Does your hatred run that deep? Deep enough to kill an innocent man? You're damn right. You have no idea what humiliations I had to suffer. Your grandfather, Magnifi Grammari, kicked me out after I got hurt practicing my magic, and then he canceled me on Twitter. A bunch of K-pop fans spammed me. He said I was too unskilled, that I would mess up on stage. He threw me out of the troupe just because he was worried about his own reputation. Since I was but a child, it was always my dream to become a great magician. But that Magnifi, he took it all from me. But that's no excuse. That's no reason to do something so evil. Magic is supposed to make people happy, not used as a means for murder. What's the big deal? I just used what I had available to me, that's all. I get it now. That attitude toward magic is why my grandfather kicked you out. You don't deserve to call yourself a magician. Jeez, who died and made you the magic police? Don't deserve? I don't know about that. After all, you were completely taken in by my magic, were you not? If not for that lawyer there, you'd be on your way to prison as we speak. Now that's what I call magic. You're right, I didn't see through your tricks. You see? So in the end, Troop Grammari was defeated by the Great Mysterious. Ho ho ho. You're not fit to lecture me from on high, Trucy Wright. You don't even deserve to call yourself a magician, you naive greenhorn. Gwahahaha. I went from poof to gwahaha really fast. Take that, Grammarai. You lose. Anyone needs to learn to let it go and move on. It's this guy. Gahahahaha. This court and my prison can both burn in the flames of my creation. No. What are you, an incinerator? Bailiff, take Mr. Reetons away. And also, why did we let him on the stand with, you know, flamethrower hands or whatever? And bring a fire extinguisher, just to be safe. It looks like we've reached the end. I feel as though I've been watching a grand magic show. It was close, but we just barely made it through somehow. Huh? Why does Trucy look so down? The name of his music. Oh yeah, that's kind of an oversight. To go, we named it. We named it after his secret identity. Hiroshi Honoyo. Nice. Ms. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? I'm about to announce my verdict. Could I see that wonderful smile of yours, that smile of a true entertainer, as I do? Yes, Your Honor. Now then, this court finds the defendant, Trucy Wright. Wait a minute. That's an inconsistency. If all these people had confetti, then why didn't they throw it earlier? When, because weren't they yeah, they were hired. A bunch of people in the audience were hired by Mr. Rias there to like boo Trucy and cheer for him or whatever. All right, court is adjourned. Thank you for everything, Polly. Oh, Trucy. Grazie a Dio. Now you can open your show tomorrow, just as planned. All according to Keikaku. Yup, and it's all thanks to you two. Oh, but now that Mr. Rias is gone, I'll need to find somebody to replace him. I don't like the way she's looking at me. Trucy, I'm sorry about everything. Hey, what are you apologizing for? Roger Reetons used us. We're victims too. He even made me accomplice to murder, which I'm getting away with. But Betty, we have to take some of the blame for this too, you know. Yeah, throughout the whole series, the music has been pretty good. I guess I wasn't paying too much attention to like there are a handful of themes throughout the series that really stand out. Mostly Godot's. Godot is always going to be like the fragrance of black coffee. That's the I mean, it's not you wouldn't call it a banger, but it's very good. Even if we didn't know he was planning to kill Mr. Mystery, we did cooperate with him. It's all my fault, isn't it? Neither one of you is to blame. The only one in the wrong is the person who used magic to commit murder, Roger Reetons. Don't you think I know that? Say what you want, but don't think for a second that I don't still hate you. I guess she really does hate me. But Betty, why? You used to be a huge fan of Trucy. Hey, shut up, I've always hated her. Really? But if we hadn't seen Trucy's magic show, we never would have tried to become professional magicians ourselves, right? Speak for yourself. Betty, you still have her autograph from that Grah, just shut up. Was she acting that way the whole time because she secretly loves Trucy? Is she the first tsundere in Phoenix Wright? Wow, Trucy, I never knew that being the best could be so tough. Hey, Savine. Police? Police what? Is it a police pun on the way? Come on, Bonnie, we're leaving. We have to get ready for tomorrow's show. You're really excited about performing with Trucy again, aren't you? That's not true. Betsumi. Zip it, dummy. So zip it, Baka. Polly? Do you think I really am a naive greenhorn? Huh? No way. She's not. Yes, I streamed it, in fact. It's on my YouTube channel. Or wait. Is it? Did I finish uploading that? I'm pretty sure I did finish uploading that one. I am still 5 or 6 months behind, but I do have that one fully uploaded. And it was like, while I was playing it, there were a lot of points where I was like, oh, this is like the worst one in the whole series. But it really wasn't. Like, there were a lot of plot holes. There were a lot of things that did not make sense. And most of the secondary characters I wound up not liking, but I still really, really laughed a lot during that playthrough. Just because of the absurdity. The music, I don't know if I really remember. I mean, the Professor Layton theme is like, that's the main thing that I remember from it, is like the Layton-esque music, not the Phoenix Wright music so much. But yeah, maybe I just don't pay that much attention to the music in these games. Maybe I should. After all, you were completely taken in by my magic, were you not? If not for that lawyer, this is a flashback to seconds ago. I'm not reading it again. Yes, this was just now. This was just now. He's actually still standing. His words are still echoing through the courtroom. You don't even need to think about them again. Just listen. Trucy, don't tell me you're taking what Raiden said to heart. Well, maybe a little. I didn't see through his tricks. And I let myself be taken in by his magic. I can't trust myself anymore. Maybe he was right to call me a greenhorn. You shouldn't take stock in his words. He doesn't even know the first thing about you. Huh? You're a wonderful Grammar magician. You should be proud of yourself. Thank you, Apollo. But what makes you say that? I know you're a wonderful Grammar magician because of this. And they cheated. They gave us this, but it was never once used as part of the evidence. This might be the only time that's ever happened. That there's something in your court record that is not used in the trial. They only put it in there so that I could present it to her at the end. My grandfather's notebook. The Grammar Creed. A true entertainer always keeps a smile on their face. When you performed your magic trick in court today, you showed the world your dedication to your troop's creed. Even through all the jeering, you kept a smile on your face and won the crowd over. Yeah, the mass cross-examination. Was it? I think it was probably more than 2 times. I think they did it at least once in every chapter, now that I think about it. Because there's the part where you have 10 people on the stand. That was pretty unforgettable. You are everything Magnifi could have hoped it for in an heir. You're a great magician, Trucy. A great magician? Me? You really are. That's why you don't have to worry about what Raiden said. Raiden's. Oh, Polly, thank you. Still, I couldn't have done it without you. I would have lost my nerve if I'd been up there alone. But I was able to keep on smiling because of you. Smiling is just as shallow of a trick as magic. And she did stop smiling. A lot. Most of the time she was not smiling. I remembered what you said to me in the detention center. After all, you're sure you swapped the swords, right? Yes, I remember doing it. Then I just know it wasn't your fault, Trucy. But how can you say that? We don't have any proof it wasn't me. I mean, I know you're a great lawyer, Polly, but... I believe in you, Trucy. And I believe in your skill as a professional magician, so I'm going to prove your innocence. Don't worry. You're going to be Daijobu. Your words were what kept me going. Yeah, they have to find ways to give people nicknames. You can't use Chan and Sam and Sama and Kun. You gotta just make what's his name who called the judge Uji? Asked if he'd been swimming lately. Apollo, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now I can be everything I was meant to be. Trucy's real smile is the best. I'm so glad I could help make that happen. Emma? I'm really sorry, Trucy, for everything. But why? Well, I wasn't able to convince Prosecutor Sadmati what a good person you are. And I had to testify against you, too. You have nothing to apologize for. You were just doing your job. You're too kind. Oh, I don't know about... Huh? Is something wrong, Emma? Oh! Prosecutor Sadmati? What are you doing here? Detective Sky. Yes? I require your forensic expertise in order to close this case. Come, let us go. Yeah, Damon Gant. I couldn't remember his name. But yeah, what did he would call the judge Uji, which isn't even close to like I mean, not that you would nickname somebody's profession, you would just call him Bob or whatever. The trial is over, Mr. Justice. You and I are strangers once more, with no further need to interact. Strangers? Have you really forgotten all about me? What? You really changed, Natuya. Or Nayuda. Telling me to let it go and stuff. What happened to you? Oh, lawyer of impure soul. I have nothing to say to the likes of you. Are you serious, Nayuda? Now, if you will excuse me. There he goes. What was that all about, Apollo? How do you know Prosecutor Sadmati? Let's just say it's gonna be the next court case. Because it'll be a flashback case. Acquaintances? It seemed like something more than that. Yeah, well, you don't like to talk about your past, do you? Because you always change the subject. I guess I'll have to talk about it someday. But for now, come on, let's forget about the past and go celebrate Trucy's future. Sure, if you say so. Dun, 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 dun. Put him on speakerphone, Apollo. What's up, Mr. Wright? Apollo, how's Trucy? What happened at the trial? Did you get a not guilty verdict? Chill out, Phoenix. It's only been like 3 hours. You think court is over already? Do you think that's how criminal trials work? That it's just over in 3 hours on the first day? But it is over in 3 hours on the first day. Mr. Wright, slow down. Everything's Daijobu. Hi, Daddy. I'm okay now. She was found not guilty in a very dramatic turnabout. Plus, we saved the office. It was a great victory for Apollo. There's this joke in a Phoenix Wright video about how Apollo is a normal guy with 9 backstories because they forgot to give him one the first time, so he just makes up new ones. I guess I've forgotten. Oh, that's right. He turned out to be like an astronaut in the last one, right? They were like, "Oh yeah, we were gonna go into space together." With what's his name that sighed all the time. That's a load off my mind. I can't thank you enough, Apollo. Now I know I can trust you to hold down the fort anytime. Me? Really? Yes, you. You're a real full-fledged lawyer now in my eyes, and also you were in the first place. You have a badge. That's what it means to be fully fledged. It means that you have a badge. The badge is the fledge, and you only need one of them to be full. A full-fledged lawyer? I still can't wrap my mind around it. Thank goodness you were there to take care of everything. And thank you, Apollo. No need to go that far, boss. Especially not in front of everyone. Oh, and by the way, I won't be able to make it to tomorrow's show, so I was hoping you could go. You'll do that for me, won't you? Of course. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Yeah, I knew this astronaut guy like he was my best friend. Oh, I know this prosecutor guy. Full-fledged. I actually don't know what it... Like, what does it... Every time I hear the word full-fledged, I think of Kingdom of Loathing, where there's... You get an item called Pirate Fledges that makes, like, wearing that means that you're a fully fledged pirate. And I don't know what it's supposed to... What is... Like, it... Does it have something to do with that? Like a badge? Are fledge and badge just... Did we drop a bunch of consonants and vowels and just replace them with whatever we wanted? Because that is very English. So Daddy asked you to come to tomorrow's show, huh? As my assistant, right? No. He just asked me to go cheer you on. Okay, then I'll be sure to save you the best seat in the house, Polly. The best seat in the house? I really appreciate the thought, but... Good, then it's settled.
Objection!
I should have known. That this is what she meant. Magical girl Trucy Wright will now perform her greatest illusion yet. We haven't even had a Generalprobe. You can't just do it live. There are no tricks or gimmicks here, ladies and gentlemen. This is real magic. Wait a minute, you're kidding, right? There is a trick or gimmick, right? I'm too young to die. Now then, Mr. Hat, you know what to do with that sword. No, wait, stop! No! And that is how Trucy and Grammar Land ended on a rousing high note, with a big round of applause and Polly's ear-splitting screams. What kind of an ending is that? And also, who goes to magic shows? Come on. Going to a magic show in 2020.